I know I touched on some of examples of what unconscious biases are in different settings, but I kind of want to go back to the gender bias. It's we I gave an example in the beginning about the two families with the single dad and the single mom, and the things that are offered to both parties in different ways. Um, it This is also often also recognized as sexism. It occurs obviously with different stereotypes with different genders. Um, a big example of a gender bias minus like the single dad and single mom is the gender pay gap. So women make less money than men. So, and as of 2021, the average salary for a man was about 18% higher than a woman's salary. So this is a bias that's only not only in a family matter, but also in jobs and careers and different opportunities that both men and women have. That is the gender bias, but it's an unconscious bias. It's a bias that everybody kind of has made into a norm that should not be a norm. Um, some ways that we can avoid uh, doing these biases or falling into them or learning them is just understanding the different profiles of each person at that time. Like, don't look at the sex, don't look at the name. Sometimes, you could look at the quality of what that person is offering and then find out, oh, it's Sarah, or Jackie, or Adam, or Matt. Look at what they're offering before you are putting a name to it or a face to it. That way you wouldn't know. That's a good way of trying to combat that gender bias. Ageism is another type of bias that we do see often. Usually people over 40 have a harder time falling into a new career or getting a new job because they're in line with the same as someone who's like 25 or 20. So they see it, oh, they're going to be retiring in the next like 15, 20 years, whatever, rather than 30 years. um, to avoid that, it's the same thing. Don't proceed to look at somebody's age. Rather, be open to their skills or them learning new skills or them having an opportunity to want to be a part of whatever company or system that they are going for. Um, we need to really like find different ways of having to combat these biases within ourselves and then within our communities and within our families. It is difficult because it's such a it's done so easily and it's done without us even thinking or considering what is going on at that moment. Um, one of the things that I do see, it's a confirmation bias, is when we do see that a lot in like the workplace and different areas, where you're basically seeking out and using information from one person's views and one person's expectations. So, like in sports, when you're cherry picking, when you have that one person in the back and everybody's like, oh, they're cherry picking, that's kind of what it is. You're cherry picking off of somebody else's stuff. So, in order for us to like really gain a good knowledge of whatever you're trying to understand, get multiple sources, get multiple reliable sources with information, things that have hypotheses and they have conducted research, and they're gathering information from a variety of places rather than just one specific person or one specific research. This way that you have a wider range and a wider opportunity of making a conscious decision, a conscious bias, and not just doing it on what one person has stated or what one research has stated. Um, some of the things that we also